Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Grit, Grace, and Growth. I'm your host, Laura Navaquin, and today I'm thrilled to be speaking with Ari. She is a CEO and head of strategy at Seekolofia, a women owned web and creative agency. Ari has been a game changer in helping women led brands in B2B tech transform their websites into platforms that drive business growth. She's also the co author of a best selling book, Made to Sell, and has over 13 years of experience helping businesses achieve 6 and 7 figures growth. All right, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Laura. I'm super excited to be here.
Likewise. So I know we have a bunch of questions. I have a bunch of questions outlined for you because you've built such an impressive agency with Seekolofia. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey and what sparked your passion for web design and branding? And how did you decide to focus on helping women led brands in B2B tech in the first place?
Oh, that is a loaded question. Where
Yes,
do
I
we
definitely have
start?
a bunch of questions for you. So I started off with a loaded one for you.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you, Laura. Um, I did not even know that I'm actually going to build a business. All I wanted was just to create design and then just
Mhm,
have fun with it. I went to art school not knowing that I would build a company, but
mhm,
because of there's this big need that I felt like there's gotta be more, there's gotta be more. And little did I know that there's a abundant more of options,
mhm.
right? I was born and raised in Bali, Indonesia. So
Okay.
I was told that, you go get a job after you
Mhm,
graduate, and then, that's pretty much going to be most of your life. Nobody tell me that I have options to be an entrepreneur. Nobody tell me that
mhm,
there are options for me, to do a gig work like freelancing, that kind of stuff. So
mhm.
it wasn't really common as I was growing up, but dating and also getting engaged with an American opened up a lot of my perspective. And he was the one, my husband, who is now
Mhm,
my also business partner, he was the one who opened up this world to me that basically says, hey, if you really want to do more with your skill, and I know you can, here is some of this opportunity. So
mhm.
early on, I was already dabbling into freelance graphic design, or freelance website design, UI UX design, that kind of stuff until I came here to US and decided that, you know what, perhaps we could build something together beyond just this freelancing gig. And right
Yeah.
after I got married, my husband was like, do you want to build a business together? And I was like, sure. I mean, what could go wrong, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, what could go wrong? That is definitely one of the things that I was thinking, but also what could be amazing, right? What would that
Yes.
amazing journey look like for us? Um, specifically around what we do at Secalofia, we primarily work, like you mentioned earlier, with women-led brands in B2B tech, all things related to digital brand, user
Mhm,
experience, and website design, and building that platform for them so that they can grow their business. It wasn't an accident that we ended up
mhm,
building this capabilities because my background in branding and graphic design, as well as all the experience I had around, building website design, right? And then my
mhm.
husband on the other side, he came from a very technical background. He has master's degree in computer science, and he has been dabbling a lot with web development and web app development for quite some time. So it
Mhm,
almost like you're infusing the creativity side and also the technology side together.
mhm.
And that has been you can kind of say that our balanced approach when it comes to
Yes.
like building projects for other women owned. I hope that helps a little bit. And I can
No,
talk
I
more.
love that. It's so detailed, and I love how you guys got started and how you ended into entrepreneurship
Yeah.
from your passion and your talent and your skill from design overall. And I know that this episode is about building a business that needs more than just a great idea. Of course, it requires grit and vision and strong purpose. So, would you be able to elaborate a little bit more on how you define your vision uh, and how it's I know you mentioned your vision, but how it's evolved over the years now. So you've been an entrepreneur and a business woman for a number of years now. How many did you say in the beginning? Has it been 10 years?
This is our 13 years.
13 years. Goodness. So you've been in business 13 years. So how would you say it's evolved over the past 13 years from inception until now?
Yeah. Oh man. I never thought that we would last this long, right? To be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you. I mean, coming from a background with no knowledge around building a business, right? And
Mm-hmm.
even like leading the team and so on and so forth. But you have to figure that one out as
Yeah.
you go. In the beginning, it was just me and my husband, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the very beginning of that first 2, 3 years, it was fun, right? It was fun. You just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we just got married. We just built a business together. It's going to be amazing. Not really, to be honest. No, not really. Because as a newlywed, right, there's this like feelings that you're just like, oh, I'm still so in love. I mean, I'm still in love with my husband, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But it's so different when you're trying to work together in a
Mm-hmm.
professional capacity, right? Seeing him
Mm-hmm.
in a different lens beyond like seeing him as my spouse. And now I
Mm-hmm.
have to like really configure this feeling and respect and also appreciation to him as a business partner. That took
Mm-hmm.
us probably all of our first 3 and 4 years in business to finally
Mm-hmm.
realize this dynamic that we have to, really understand our roles and then, our responsibilities, all that kind of stuff. So it was a disaster. I'm just gonna like recount that. Our first 5 years, to be honest, it was a hot mess and disaster. But we learned so much. We learned so much from our mentors, not only like figuring out what those roles and boundaries going to look like, but also how do we get more out there? How do we really
Yeah.
convey our messages? How do we start building network, right? And how to really listen to our target audience and really figure out
Yeah.
like who are the right people, because I'm just gonna say, I'm just like everybody else. When you first build a business, you're gonna say, I'm targeting everybody. Everyone
Yeah.
is my audience, right? No, don't do that. I made that mistake. My mentors made that mistake as well. I hope you do not make that same mistake. So really just like trying to figure out like who are these target audience that we truly feel connected to. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until I realized that, coming here to the US, in Chicago in particular, I was welcomed with such open arms, warm,
Mm-hmm.
welcome from entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs here in Chicago. So
Mm-hmm.
that made me realize, like, oh my gosh, these women are amazing. Imagine what I can do to also like replicate that effect, right? Replicate that
Yes.
impact to also other women in businesses. So that's what we ended up set to do. Like, we will work with more women businesses, and ever
Mm-hmm.
since then, the majority of our clients are women business. Um,
Yeah.
Gosh, so that is our first 5 years, Laura. Um,
Yes.
yes. I mean, I can go on, but I would love to maybe
No,
see
no, it's great. I love, what you're sharing and some key points that I wanted to point out there because I completely agree with you. My husband and I were relatively newer on our journey of being entrepreneurs or full-time entrepreneurs and working with one another. And I can completely relate to that and having to feed off of each other's skill sets because each person brings a different skill set and strong points to the table
Mhm.
and learning how to work with each other with those skill sets and making it work type of thing. So I feel like I'm still going through that beginning journey, working with my husband and relying on one another's strong points as well and trying to make sure that things are aligned and working and so forth. Yes, it could have its challenging moments at times, but at the same time, is what makes you so strong and being able to continue moving forward and growing this business together. So I think that's absolutely great. And another point that you pointed out and mentioned that I absolutely loved is that you had mentors because I feel also often I speak to other new entrepreneurs and not even entrepreneurs, just women in general that I'm networking with in different events. And not everyone or sometimes more seldom than not do people reach out to and hire or connect with because not all mentors are hired out either, but connect with other mentors to lean on and learn from and how significant of an impact having a mentor really is. It's one of the things that I personally wish that I would have brought into my life more frequently in multiple different levels, whether it was a
Yeah,
real estate and entrepreneurship in different aspects of my life, because mentorship helps you grow, learn, and scale on such a quicker pace overall, because you're able to learn it from their lessons and their experiences as well. So I love that as well.
100% agree.
Yeah. So I know that you mentioned some of your challenges from your first 5 years or so getting going. What would you say is one of the biggest hurdles that you've encountered while growing your business, and how did you overcome it? So, not necessarily the working with your husband, but within the business dynamics, what was one of your biggest hurdles that you faced, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, there are two things. First
Hmm.
is funding. The
Hmm.
second is marketing. And these two actually in our first 5 years were very much tied together, right?
Hmm.
Friendly reminder, I did not have a business acumen starting
Hmm.
into the business, right? And I thought I was like, hey, client will just come. It's like, no, wrong. You need marketing, right? It's like, how do you marketing? Well, you need some funding to
Yes.
your marketing. So we were having this challenges, like trying to figure out like, okay, how do we do this? We don't really have um, fun to actually start the business. So
Hmm.
not only I'm an immigrant, right? I did not have a credit score yet when I started the business.
Hmm.
And I'm the 51% holder of the company. So nobody's giving me any business loan. I had to like
Yeah.
really start from scratch, like building up my credit score. And you know what? We ended up figuring out one of us have to get a day job. So I
Hmm.
ended up getting a day job, but while also still working on the company part time. My
Hmm.
husband stays full time, so at least we can still figure out some of the business activities, business development portion and marketing that we need to figure out. So
Hmm.
I would just do a lot of my project and my outreach and stuff like that during lunchtime or like
Yeah.
after hours, like all the way, like after dinner, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
It was it was okay. It was manageable, right?
Yeah.
Until I get to a point where I'm expecting a baby,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then I
Hmm.
was also running other uh, small businesses like a networking events. That it
Hmm.
felt like one of the big way for me to utilize myself to think about like who else can I meet? Because yes, I can go to networking events, but when you build your own networking events, people start seeing you as one of the leaders in the community,
Yes.
right? So there's
Hmm.
that distinction that really helped me being seen a lot more, but also being seen as the connector. So that really helps
Hmm.
me build my network pretty fast, but also, reaching out to my target audience as well as people who are part of my networking events to really just like connect me with their network. So that helped me expand my marketing reach a lot faster than I would normally, do it traditionally. So that's that portion. And I have to say though, it was a good decision that
Hmm.
we ended up having one of us, which is me, right, going to corporate and then like use some of those salary income to channel it into our marketing
Yeah.
expenses. So it was pretty smart, at least on my end, because I felt like I couldn't really see it any other way. But it also helped
Hmm.
me get access into networks in downtown Chicago because I work for Sears in downtown, and it was a lot
Hmm.
easier for me to go to like different networking events because I'm already
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
right? So also there's a network within Sears themselves. Like I've seen other people who used to be part of Sears now also build their own agency. So we have that relationship, we have that network as well together.
Hmm.
So I would say those are the two parts.
Yes. Well, that's great. I'm so glad that you made that work, and just finding the creative outlets or the creative methods to making something work. There's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way. I always say that no matter what challenge we're being faced with, we just need to think creatively for a solution. All right. So I did read that you've co authored a best selling book, Made to Sell. So focusing on creating websites that convert. What is one of the common mistakes you see entrepreneurs make when they try to scale their business online?
Good question. Oh man, I feel like this past 13 years I've seen a lot, right? I'm pretty sure I
Of
will see more,
course.
but I've seen quite a lot. And the big thing that I start noticing after, time and time again, people would come to us, it's
Hmm.
really around lack of strategy, right? I almost feel
Okay.
like a lot of the businesses, right, as soon as they have this idea, it's like, oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to launch X, or I'm going to
Hmm.
create this new venture, right? They would immediately come to a checklist. Like you have your name ready, you have your logo ready, and
Hmm.
then you have your website ready. But really, what is your website going to do for you? I think there's
Hmm.
lack of clarity in terms of like what people really want to utilize their website for, because it could be
Hmm.
such a powerful machine if you really think through the purpose of that website.
Yes.
So that is the big thing that I oversee. Other things that I also, start seeing is that people don't really treat their web pages as it should be, meaning that they would just like dump so many information for the user
Hmm.
and then let their user figure it out. No,
Yeah.
we as a user, we want to be guided, right?
Yeah.
So those are some of the mistakes that I also seen from people when they feel like, yes, this is my business and I want to tell them all about me. It's like, yes, to a degree you will, and that's why you have
Hmm.
an about me page. But for the rest of your pages on your website, it should be for your target audience. They want to know more about how this is helpful for them, right?
Yes.
They want to know, like, is this the right solution or product for them or for people
Hmm.
in their life? They want to know if you're trustworthy. They want to know if you're reputable, right? They also want to know whether or not your brand aligned with their core values. So I felt like so many times people would just say that, yeah, they can find out all of this information on my website. They'll figure it out. No, you have to be the one figuring out for them, laying it out for them nice and clear, and then direct them to the call to action you want them to do.
Yeah. I love that. And so do you now have a team, or is it still your husband and yourself?
No, I would probably not be able to do this like just me and my husband. So that first 5 years, right, when I told you
Uh-huh.
that okay, things are changing, our next 5 years after that was really this big change that happened in our life as we
Hmm.
start welcoming our son. So I started
Okay.
to realize that I don't think I'll have enough time to manage everything. My
Yes.
full-time job, my actual company part-time, and then that
Hmm.
networking group that I have, and then a baby. I mean, seriously,
Yes.
like how would
Yes.
you manage all of that? So it took me maybe about like 5 to 6 months, and then I realized I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of
Hmm.
stairs and really just like, figure out what would be next step for me to be in the
Hmm.
business full time. Right? Because my
Yeah.
mind constantly just like, I want to be at home, I want to be at home, not only
Yes.
because I want to be with my baby, but also I feel like there's so much more that I can do for the company,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to get stuck behind my 9 to 5 desk because I felt like there's this change that's coming. I can feel it, but I'm also scared, like
Yeah.
trying to leave that comfort zone, right? I know you
Hmm.
feel that too, Laura, right?
Yes.
So you're
Exactly.
familiar with that. So that's when it started changing. And I told my husband, like, you know what? I gotta quit. I gotta quit the day job. It's like, no,
Hmm.
don't say goodbye to your like, your check. And I was like, well, it's now or never because I know
Hmm.
we will figure it out. So we talked through it together. We said yes to it, and I have not looked back. And this was 2016. And
Hmm.
that was
Okay.
when I start figuring out that I don't think I'll be able to manage all of these, just me and my husband anymore. We
Hmm.
were thinking that this is going to be our gig together, right? Just you and me
Hmm.
against the world kind of things. Like, nope, not going to work anymore. We have to think big. We have to really figure out how to transition in this, studio into an agency. So that's
Hmm.
when things start changing and we start enrolling, I would say like 2 or 3 people to be
Hmm.
part of our first team member, right? Beyond me and
Yeah.
Peter. And then ever since then, it just grew and grew. And now we have 17 other team member with us.
Wow, that is great. I love that story. And I love the point that you make that you just came to this point in your life that you knew that you had to make a change going forward and believed and trusted in yourself enough to just take that leap and
Yeah.
figure it out to make it work. And I think that that's ultimately for many of us, no matter what it is that we're attempting to do, we just need to take that leap and figure things out moving forward, because they will come together as long
Yeah.
as we continue moving forward. But if we just, remain stagnant or remain with things unchanged, then who knows how long that cycle will continue moving on, or how long you would have stayed at Sears in your scenario, in your story, that could have kept your business growing or kept it moving forward, but not necessarily scaling and growing to the level that
Mhm.
it's at today. So I absolutely love that. And congratulations to you on having a team of 17
Thank you.
alongside yourself, your husband, and yourself. That's great. So when you're bringing on new team members, how do you ensure that your team shares your same purpose and vision when you're bringing them on, that they're aligned with what it is that you are doing?
I love this question. I love this question because you probably can tell that I made a lot of mistakes on this part, and I'm happy to share. Oh goodness. When I start onboarding new team member, right, it was really
Uh-huh.
hard. I think my husband has it better compared to me because I was really treating the company as my baby, right? Beyond my
Mhm.
actual human baby.
Yes.
And it was so hard just trying to like pass certain tasks or
Mhm.
assignment or even a project to somebody else who may not know or embody
Yeah.
the whole core values thing or culture from our company.
Yeah.
But I think I really had to let go. So that was the first thing that I really had to do. That mindset in terms of like you'll do more with more team member, right? You
Mhm.
cannot do everything alone. That was the first thing that I had to just really accept. But
Mhm.
then thinking through, I mean, as a branding person, right? What is that core values? Like, what is our culture look like? So we slowly trying to figure it out beyond just me and Peter. It's like, what do we really value as a team? Like, obviously, we're always transparent with people. We're really creative. We are, trying to be the best of ourselves and challenging ourselves and things like that. And then I start creating this 10 keywords of like, to be honest, it was more of a word vomit rather than like carefully curated core values. And there were 10 of them, Laura. Imagine like 10 of them. And I thought I was doing a great job. It's like, okay, yeah, you
Mhm.
guys will be able to embody all of these 10 things. Like, no, it did not. It did not completely work. I mean, to some degree, it helped that yes, there is this sense of belonging because of we speak the same vision, and then we want to do things that we truly love to do, right? The big reason
Yeah.
why I started a company is because I want to be able to gain that flexibility in case you need to take care of your parents, or maybe you actually have your small family and things like that. You can step away. You don't have to get confined into a traditional structure of work.
Yes.
So to a degree, yes, it was starting to develop, but it was still in its infancy of
Mhm.
company culture or like brand culture. Now, only until recently, I'm going to be honest with you. Recently, we started to learn from a book called, what's the name of it? Traction. Traction
Okay.
from Gino Wickman. Are you familiar with that book, Laura?
I am not, but I'm going to jot that down myself and look that
Okay.
up.
It's a really good book. I highly, highly
Okay.
recommend it. I wish I actually, went through the book in my early years. I've learned about it for so long, but I only have taken the action
Uh-huh.
last year. So the book really helped business owners, especially those who have this entrepreneurial spirit, right, to develop a system called EOS, so entrepreneurial operating system.
Okay.
It has a deep exercise around building up that core values, building
Mhm.
up the right people on the right seat, right? And
Mhm.
also accountability charge that really hold specific team member for a specific thing. And I didn't
Mhm.
have all of that before. So I almost feel like this is yet another step for me to configure for the business, so that we can build the right, not just team member, but also the culture that we want as we grow. So those 10 keywords or word vomit that I mentioned earlier, that's gone now. We now only have 5 core values, and it was very
Mhm.
clear, right? I actually have them printed in front of me here, and I can share with you what they are. So the first one is proactive leadership. The second
Mhm.
one is vibrant pioneers. And then we have
Mhm.
excellence as standard, radically transparent, and then
Mhm.
growth and impact driven. So each of these individual core values become, things that we have embodied every day
Yeah.
to help us accountable.
Yeah. I love that. And thank you for that recommendation for that book because I'm going to go and look for that this afternoon myself because I feel that I'm somewhat in the seats where where you were a number of years ago when you started expanding your team. So I only have
Yeah.
one person on my staff or one person that I turn to. And it's very difficult for me, like as you mentioned in the beginning, to hand over certain tasks because it is my baby. And then over the
Yeah.
past year and a half, 2 years or so, I've been working on scaling this business to get it to where it is today because I had, not to say I didn't have any other choice, but I was walking away from my job and my salary and the comfort of that. So I needed to grow this business, of course, so that I can gain the flexibility to be with my
Mm-hmm.
family and my kids, as you had mentioned. And that's what was vital, important to me and getting the business to where it is. But now that it's grown, I do need to bring on help. And it's very challenging for me because I guess I have control issues, if you will, because handing over certain tasks, I'm like, oh, I can do that, I can do that, and then I find myself constantly pulling things back and just thinking to
Yeah.
myself, I know how to do it, or I know how I want it done, or whatever it may be, type of thing. So definitely going to look for that book, give it a read, and try to incorporate some of those core values as well to help me bring on other team members because I definitely need another at least two people or so to help us. And I know that that's what's going to continue helping us grow and scale
Mm-hmm.
is bringing
Yes.
in other staff. So it's like in the back of my mind, I know it, but trying to implement it is very challenging for myself. So thank you for that.
Good
So
luck. I mean, it's definitely a
thank you.
mindset, but you will get to it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I do want to also ask you for other entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs that are listening who may be in their early stages of building a business. What is a piece of advice that you would be able to give them when it comes to staying clear on their vision and mission in the early stages?
Oh, that's a good one. I think the big part that you'll definitely have to keep in mind is that your business is to create customers, right?
Mhm.
Really understand your target audience and their needs, as well as the solution that they're seeking based on what it is that you can truly provide for them.
Yes.
And the main reason why I said this is because we're going through some of the changes ourselves as well as a business, and we're already like past 13 years, right? We always feel that we have specific set of capabilities that in my mind is like, yeah, you will need this for your business, so on and so forth. But only recently I start realizing that it's not just about the service, it's not just about the product that you're building, but also what is it that the solution they're seeking, right? What is their life going to look like when they work with you, when they buy from you, right? That is the core key thing that will help your business truly grow because then you'll be known as so and so brand helped me achieve X. It's not
Yes.
because like, hey, I purchased X, Y, and Z from this brand.
Hmm.
The narrative change when you actually lean more towards the solution, right? It becomes a lot more emotional for them and it creates this brand loyalty even deeper to you. So as you start growing your business or even like building your business, really think through like who are your target audience, right?
Hmm.
In the beginning, they're gonna look very generic, they're gonna look very general, right? But
Hmm.
you're going to start talking to these people and you're going to start finding information like, oh, you know what, while my target audience are women who are, let's say, planning their wedding, I
Hmm.
actually work better when I work with people who are in their 40s who plan their
Hmm.
wedding, right? Or maybe it's the opposite, more
Hmm.
towards the first timer who
Hmm.
is planning their wedding. Whatever that might be, you start diving into a very specific niche group
Hmm.
that will be very specific to you and how you would be able to relate to them and offer that solution.
Yeah, that's great. I love that because again, as you mentioned in the beginning, I think most of us, when we get started in entrepreneurship, our idea is everyone is my target audience. I just want to
Yes.
sell, I want to grow, but really being able to hone in on that niche and where we want to specialize
Yeah.
and where we can stand out will help us get that retention and
Hmm.
satisfied customers or people coming back to us over and over and really just grow that skill set that speaks to that particular market. I love that. Thank you so much. Also, what trends do you see shaping the future of digital branding overall? So, how can entrepreneurs prepare to stay ahead of the curve as things are always evolving?
Oh, okay. You probably already guessed it, right? It's everything that people have been talking about. It's the AI thing. It's all
AI,
this like technology stuff.
right?
Yes. Oh goodness. I love AI. Don't get me wrong, right?
Hmm.
But when it comes to like digital design, branding, UX, and all these website platform thing, what you'll be able to use AI for is really around getting initial concept or just like idea out,
Yes.
right? Because sometimes you probably have it in your head, and if you're really
Hmm.
bootstrapping right now, AI tools will be amazing for you
Hmm.
because then you can really figure out and work together with AI, trying to give it proper prompts or like
Hmm.
testing a few areas here and there together. Now,
Hmm.
even if you already build your website, right, there are some AI tools that can help you either, A/B test certain things, saving you time, saving you a lot more expenses around marketing in general, especially if you want to still control. I think this is part of the thing as a business owner, right? You still want to either control or manage your own assets or your
Hmm.
own, I guess, like messaging in house, right? Maybe it's just
Hmm.
between you and your team. That's totally cool. But at some point, you will grow out of it, right? You will just become
Hmm.
so busy trying to focus on the high level thing, like your business development and trying to like build relationship with your customers, so on and so forth. And you have to rely on either your team or perhaps even like bringing in other agencies or studios to help you move other pieces for your marketing forward. So yes, you can still use AI. I would still, encourage you to play around with it because it becomes so much more fun and it can be even more cost effective for you in the beginning as well.
Yeah. That's so true. I think even for myself, going back a year, it was something that I personally was trying to avoid because it was just so much influx of AI on everything. You heard so much about it, and I was like, no, I don't need AI, or it's not for me. But it's in everything
It
nowadays,
is.
and to a certain or
Yeah.
to a certain point, you need to adopt it in certain ways, and it could be helpful. Explore different tools and how to use it and how that can be applicable to your personal needs. So that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, we can't avoid it. So it's with the evolving times. Yes. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and your journey with us today. I'm sure that listeners have taken away so many valuable lessons on grit and also purpose that it takes to build a business. Where can people find you and learn more about yourself and your business and also connect with you?
Yes, you guys can find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So find my name on LinkedIn and I will
Hmm.
definitely follow you back. Or if you're on Instagram, feel free to find me on Instagram using my same name as well. I do have a what do you call that? A web page for my business where you could get the first free chapter of my book to read. If you're interested on that one, I'll send Laura and she'll probably include that link later.
Yeah, definitely send that my way. All of your links will be included in the show notes, so nobody will have any challenges finding you. I'll include that and send that first chapter over my way as well. Be sure to include that so everyone can catch up on that, give it a read, and then go out and get your book, because I'm sure it has so many valuable lessons of following our conversation as well. So thank you so much, Ari. I'm so thankful that you joined me because I definitely have a lot of takeaways from our conversation as well. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This has been a wonderful chat with you, Laura.
Likewise. Thank you.